everyone. Welcome to today's writing retreat. I'm just letting Emmanuel into the room from Intel. Hi, Emmanuel, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Fantastic.
Can I just check? Did you have some slides to present today, Emmanuel? I can
Uh,
stop sharing if you have some.
not some slides per se, just checking in
Okay.
and perhaps go through the SFI platform quickly, just to again show how easy it is to navigate to the courses that you'd be using on the SFI platform for the D's alignment. I think it would be the better a better use of the 10 minutes or so that we have, so instead of walking through a couple of slides.
Cool.
Similar to what we did at our webinar, just to again reiterate that there are a couple of courses that have been outlined from the Intel SFI program that must be taken as part of the D's alignment framework. And to find these courses, I'll just share my screen quickly if that is okay. Again, it's a pleasure to be here as always. It is always a pleasure. By now, I would like to assume that everyone on this call has access to the SFI platform. If you haven't, please reach out to Catherine and the D's team to confirm that. So this page shouldn't be new to you at this time. You ought to be able to access this now. And the focus for the SFI platform and its content is really in the professional development area. Broadly speaking, we have two main content areas. We have the professional development and we have the starter pack lessons. Just give me a second, please.
Oh, perhaps you just want to pop in the chat whether you've been able to log into the Intel Skills for Innovation platform so far, if you've made a start, if you've studied any courses yet. I did a set of 3 last week, and they were fabulous. I learned loads. They were really good. So thanks, Emmanuel.
Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, you know what? That would be great. That would be great to hear from the audience. If you have started and if you have some initial feedback you'd like to share, if you could drop it in the chat, that would be great. Yes, I know, Catherine. I've gotten updates on your learning completion. And again, this is just to inform again. You will be receiving. There is an automatic certificate of completion that is generated when you complete a course on the platform. You will, however, be receiving a joint branded certificate. This will be sent to you in an email, especially because we have your details now. So at the end of every work week, we would collate users who have completed a particular course or the other, and then we send you these joint branded certificates to your email so you can download and have that. That one we have the the branding assets for the partners of these awards altogether. Now, the ones on the platform still valid. If you want to use them, feel free to. That is really for our internal control processes to be able to track those who have completed the course and who are still ongoing. Okay, so just reading a bit. Okay, all the recordings. Louis said logged in. Okay. So please get right on it, Louis. Time is moving quite fast. It'd be great to get into it. I know there are quite a number of courses to cover, but it'd be great if you can. Okay, so to access the PD courses, you want to click here, professional development. My personal favorite is to use the sidebar. Just my preference. You click on professional development there, and it will take you to the PD page. Now, for the purpose of the D's award, our focus is on level 2, level 3, level 4, and the artificial intelligence in education PD courses. I'll say that again quickly. Level 2, level 3, level 4, and the AI in education PD courses. Now, all On this page are all the available PD courses on the SFI learning platform. However, for the purpose of your D's award, now we would encourage that you take all of them over the course of time, but for the purpose of hitting the required completion milestones to be able to enter for the application, you'd want to go to level 2, level 3, and level 4. So across the five categories, these courses have been spread from level 2, 3, and 4. So when you land on this page, to commence one, let's assume you want to take I think it's the core skills for cyber resilience. You'd want to come here to level 2, click on level 2, start learning. It's going to open a new browser tab, give it some time to load, and then you have your courses. Now I've enrolled into level 2 course 1. I'm going to pick one that I haven't enrolled yet so you'd see what it looks like. And you click on level 2 course 2, it's going to bring a screen. This is the learning plan that has, this is the course outline that has the individual learning pieces for the course. So when we speak about completing a course, we are referring to completing each of these courselets and the assignments in these particular courses. So to begin this, I click on enroll. And as you can see, there isn't any indication of being timed anywhere here. It is at your pace. You can take it in your stead. We encourage that you give it the required amount of time. SFI courses, PD courses generally take about an hour, 30 minutes to complete. So it'd be good to give it the time required so it doesn't stretch out for too long. So when you click on enroll, you begin. And if you want to start, just click on go to course. It will take it from the beginning into the learning area. You click on go to course again. It takes you to the learning materials, which really just loads up the learning content like so. Okay, and for those who have not interacted with our learning content, you would see very quickly it is quite intuitive. You have a mixture of text, videos, interactive components, call outs, and also discussion areas. We understand the need for our learners to also get a sense of what we want them to also pay forward, if you will, in interactive learning mode. So we are certain that going through the SFI content, you are not going to be bored because there are interactive elements that doesn't just present you one style of learning. And yeah, that's pretty much how to access the content and go through it. It has a progress bar so you will know how far gone you are with the piece of content. As you can see, this is 7%. Now, until you get to the completion and it gets to 100% complete, even if you click on next lesson, you would have to complete the previous lesson before you are able to take the assignment. Let me close this and show you what the assignment looks like this one. This one right here. This is an assignment. Now, I won't be able to unlock it until I complete the lesson for that. So it is important that the lessons are completed, that the assignments are taken. The assignments are pretty straightforward. Most, if not all, of the assignments are already in the lesson material. So usually it's a download and rewrite or download and modify and then just re-upload just to make things simple. So one must complete all the assessment required to be able to get the certificate for that course. Yeah, so I think that would be that from us here for now. Again, we are rooting for you. Please do well to begin, do well to go through. If there are any, if you need any clarification, any technical support, do feel free to reach us. I'm dropping the link at contact at skills for innovation.intel.com. Yeah. And someone from the SFI team will pick up on that and support you along your learning journey. Catherine, back to you.
questions for Emmanuel before he goes today? Anything that you've come across so far, or any comments on Intel courses that you've done so far? I would just say that the ones that I did, Emmanuel, last week, I really saw the relevance to the Digital Educator Award, and the assignments on the ones that I did, I had to submit a lesson plan. So if any of you are thinking about doing the courses that I chose or other ones, often the assignment is something really practical that you can then implement into your class straight away, and is really great evidence for your Digital Educator Award. So for the ones that I did, it really led towards me developing a lesson, and then being able to go and put that into practice and have that as evidence for my award. Teresa, you've got a question there.
Hi, I'm hoping you can hear me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great, brilliant. I was unable to attend the last session like this. I'm a supply teacher, and I'm just wondering, I'm based at the moment at Charleston, but when I asked about a validator, they were a little bit unsure. Who's the best person to get in touch with about being a validator for me?
Teresa, your validator will be your local education authority contact. But I'll drop an email address if you want to cover that offline. We can help you with that if you let me know you're a local authority. Yeah, that's
great.
Fine.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, Emmanuel. Well, thanks very much for that whistle stop tour. We shall let you go and see you next time. Thank you very much.
All right then. Yes, ma'am.
So let me just share my slides. I've just got a few slides to get started. Just bear with me a second. Just be loading now, hopefully. There we go. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. Just to let you know that the format of these writing retreats is that the first 10 minutes, Emmanuel will join just to answer any queries that you might have about the Intel Skills for Innovation program. The courses are not too long. It's not a big sort of time commitment. So if you do want to dip your toes into the program, I will recommend it. And recommended courses aligned to the Digital Educator Awards are detailed on the Digital Educator Awards website. If you look at Digital Educator Awards website and then click on Intel, you'll be able to see some slides, and there's some recommended programs, recommended courses and programs that you can complete. Also, there are lots of ready-made teaching resources as well, so you might want to dip in and have a look at some of the lesson plans. There's lots of ready-made resources that you can use in your classrooms as well. But just to stress, it's not compulsory at all to do the Intel Skills for Innovation program or any of the courses, and if you want to, you could do them after you've achieved your award. So depending on what time commitment you have, you could do it later if you wanted. But the idea of the having this Skills for Innovation program is that as you're working through your award and your evidence, you might think, oh, actually, I really could do to develop my skills in artificial intelligence, for example, or harnessing technology for the community, for example, and then you can have a look and see what courses are available and sign up for those. And then as part of your evidence for the award, you can say that you studied this course and the examination was for you to put together a lesson plan, and you then went on and implemented that lesson plan in your class, and these were your findings. So it can be useful ways to develop your evidence if you need to, and just to develop yourself professionally as well. So I just want to give you a few slides, not many, because we want to use this time for writing. But I did say that in each of the writing retreats that I'd give you sort of a top tip to help you with your gathering your evidence and working towards your award. So welcome to those of you who attended the last writing retreat, and welcome to those of you who are new. The format of the writing retreat is that it's an opportunity to catch up and ask questions. I'm here for the whole time, so you can pop questions in the chat and I can answer those whilst people are working away on their award. So I encourage you now to think about setting a goal, and we do this at the start of each writing retreat, is to think, what do I want to get out of this time that I've got blocked out now? And then you've got opportunity to reflect and write, and then we can come back at the end and review and answer any questions. So this is my top tip for today. And last week we looked at reflection and reflective practice and prompts, writing prompts to think about gathering your evidence. Today I want you to think about the STAR technique, and I'll just talk you through this technique if you haven't heard of it before. So this can be a really good way to develop your evidence, is to think about a situation, and in your evidence describe that situation or challenge that you faced. So it might be, for example, that you have got a pupil in your class who isn't able to access their learning the same as others, and you might want to be thinking about how to use technology to support that individual in being able to feel part of that class, and technology might be able to be utilised to support them in that. And then the T is explaining the task and your responsibility. So what did you do? And then moving on to action, describing how you accomplished the task. And then the R is the result and reflection. So sharing the outcome and the impact of your actions. And this is quite a nice little cycle for you to think about, the situation that you had in your class. You know, what were you trying to achieve? Was it about increasing pupil voice or making things more inclusive and accessible? You know, think about what the situation was, what was the scenario, and then think about the tasks that you decided to design and carry out, what actions you did, and then the result. So if you want to just jot down that STAR process, that might be something that's helpful for you to work through today. As an example, you might want to think about a few pieces of evidence against the award criteria and perhaps using that STAR technique. I'll come back to that slide just so that you've got it for reference again, but I just want to remind you now to start to think about setting a goal for today's writing retreat, and then get writing or studying a course, whatever it is that you might choose to do for this session. And then we'll come back at 5:20 just to review what we've done and see how you're getting on, and I can answer any questions. So just for those of you who weren't here at the last writing retreat, this was just some writing prompts that I gave, some questions for you to think about in terms of your reflective practice. So thinking about discussing your reasons for undertaking an intervention or an activity, and the focus on purposeful pedagogy, and then describing what you did, discussing what happened, what was the outcome, what feedback did you receive from participants. So, you know, what feedback did you get from perhaps pupils in your class or from other teachers if you were cross-training, if you're perhaps looking at the Influencer Award? And reflecting on what worked well and what was unexpected, whether things that didn't work, and evaluating how digital technology enhanced learning, inclusion and engagement. So rather than using it as an add-on, we don't want you to be using technology as an add-on. We really want you to think about it in terms of, you know, really engaging your learners and enhancing learning, inclusion and engagement. So we don't want you to simply list things, you know, listing a host of apps that you might use in your class. It's really thinking about purposeful evidence and being really succinct and focused. So we'd rather have quality over quantity, and really thinking about an example of how you've used technology to support you in some way. So thinking about that STAR format might be a good way to do that. And then reflecting on how you might further develop your practice as a result of that activity. So thinking about today, you might be working on gathering your evidence. So thinking about perhaps things to do with supporting learner voice or examples of your work or the impact on engagement and attainment in your class through the use of digital technology. So I don't want to talk too much, but I'll open the floor now for any of you if you've got any questions before we make a start. And I invite you to jot in the chat your writing goal for today's session. And then I'll stop talking because I'm conscious that I really want you to use this time for you to work on your applications. But I'll be in the room, so if you want to ask questions as you're going along, pop them in the chat and I can answer them to you. And then we'll come back together at 5:20 if you can stay for the full session, and we'll have a review and see how you've got on. Any questions before I'll turn my sound off and my camera so that you can concentrate. Is there any questions before we start? And if you just want to jot down in the chat a goal for today, it's really important to, when you're attending a writing retreat, to set a goal for what you want to achieve today. So is it, for example, sort of setting up your document or your slide deck or your Padlet or whatever it might be with the award headings, or is it starting to look at the criteria? Perhaps you might want to start to sketch out some ideas of evidence that you might already have against that criteria, or you might want to start to look at something really specific and perhaps work through that STAR technique. So Teresa, to answer your question, you want to, if I just look at the slide there, if you go to that top address, the portal, you'll need to register there. And then you can work through your application. Okay, so I'll turn my sound off now on my camera, and I'll keep an eye on the chat if you've got any questions, and feel free to drop in the chat a goal for today for your writing retreat, and I'll call you back all in the room at 5:20. And feel free to use the chat as you're beavering away, and I'll keep an eye on any questions and answer those for you. Okay, I'll leave you to it then. Thank you very much. Just coming in to tell you that you've got 5 minutes left now. So if you just want to start to wrap up what you're doing, and we'll come back at 5:20. I'll come back at 5:20 and just let you know to come back together as a whole group, and we'll review your progress. Okay, we're coming up for time now. So what I want to start with, just to sort of wrap this up in the last 10 minutes is I want to start with a chat stream. I don't know if you've ever done one of these before, but often when you are asked to comment, and you might find this with pupils in your class, when they're asked to comment, that they might start comparing comments with each other, or thinking, oh, my comment's not as good as that one, and we start self-analysing. So the idea of a chat stream is that what I want you to do is I'll ask you one question, which is just what have been your sort of main findings from today's session, or what have you got out of today's session, or just any general comment about the writing retreat today and how you found it, or how you finding working on your application. And I want you to write a comment in the chat, but don't click the send button. So write your comment in the chat, just to sort of summarize or reflect on your session today. And then raise your hand so that I know that you are ready, but don't click send. Put your hand up, and once we've got everybody's hand up, then I will ask you all to press the send button all at the same time, so that we get a stream of comments all at the same time. So I'll give you a moment or two to write your comment. Don't click the send button, but click your raise your hand so that I know that you're ready. I'll just give you another minute to finish off. I can see hands are being raised. Abdul and Mrs. Pride, if you're still there, if you just want to put your hand up once you've completed your comment. Put your hand up, but don't click send yet. Okay, and after 3, if you want to click the send button, so I'll count down 3, 2, 1, send. And if you just want to have a look through the comments and just reflect on how people have got on, I'll just read some of them. So, Mrs. Pride, I have now managed to register and have a look through the website. I've compared the standards to the evidence that I already have, and I've started a document to log this into the relevant sections. I've also managed to log into the Intel website and have a look at the courses that they have on offer and how these could fit into the application process or support me in doing so. Wow, very impressive. Loads done. That was a really productive 90 minutes. Well done. Louise, I've been able to look at each of the criteria on the award toolkit, think about what evidence I already have and what I need to do for each criteria. Brilliant. So that was exactly what you set out to do in your goal, wasn't it, Louise? So well done on that. Claire, you've started the AI Intel training. Brilliant. Really like the quote at the beginning. You won't be replaced by an AI, but you might be replaced by someone using AI. Yeah, really good. Teresa, it was really useful to have the time to get myself organised. I enrolled, looked at the requirements and started the Intel courses module 1. Brilliant. Well done, everyone. That sounds like it was a really productive 90 minutes. So I just want to show you another slide just to remind you of what's coming up next. So these are the future writing retreats and dates, just as a reminder. So you can book on those from the Digital Educator Awards website. So our next writing retreat, same time, same place, on the 12th of March. And then we've got one on the 25th of March, and then another two in April after Easter. So the 16th of April, the 20th of April, and then the deadline for submitting your award is the 30th of April. But just a reminder that, you know, if you do find that you need more time, that deadline is not sort of set in stone. We really want to sort of encourage you to complete your application for that deadline. But if it turns out that you don't make it, I just want to get across that, you know, that you don't need to give up at that point. There'll be plenty more opportunity to carry on working and perhaps join the summer program and submit a bit later. So just keep that in mind as well. That we're, you know, here to make sure that you're successful. We don't want you to fail. Teresa, you're asking where will I find the courses to book again? So it's on the Digital Educator Awards website. Just let me get the website up. So I've just pop the link in the chat there, and if you click on resources, and then you'll see a tab for training webinars, and that's where you can book on future sessions. So any questions before we finish off? Anything that you want to share? You feel free to put your mic on if you want to. How did you find the session? Any questions that came up or anything that you want to check? I've just lowered everybody's hand because I wasn't sure if they were legacy hands or not. So put your hand up again if you've got a question. Ruth, if you click on the Digital Educator Awards, I'll give you a direct link to the actual resources. And that might help. If you click on that link, is that what you're looking for? That's to be able to book on future writing retreats. If you scroll down that page, all the dates are there, and you can click to register. You can put your mic on if it's easier. And then if you're interested in the Intel Awards, I'll just paste a link to that one. So that's the link to the Intel to register there. You can register with the code. There's a code on that website page. That's Digital Awards SFI. That's the code that you need to join that program. Louise, thanks for that. That's great that you've found this session useful. It really is good to block out some time to be able to work on your award. So hopefully you've all found that that useful, and it really sort of gives you a sense of, you know, what needs to be done and what you need to look at next, doesn't it? And you sort of have a gauge for how much time that you need. But what I would really encourage you to do is have a look through the criteria and perhaps think about how you're going to present your evidence, whether that's a sway or a PowerPoint or a Word document, and get the headings set up, or a page for each, or a slide for each, and then start to look at the criteria and really start to sort of populate what you have at the moment. So thinking that you'll probably have some evidence that's there and ready and waiting that you can just slot in, and start to build it up like that, and then think about what else you need to work on in future sessions. To then complete the criteria. So we're not asking for anything more than 5 pieces of evidence for each of those award criteria that you're working towards. And it's really perhaps thinking about that star. If I just flick back to that slide. Really thinking about, you know, what was the situation and what did you then set as a task, and what action did you take and what was the result, and really thinking about that in terms of using technology to improve learning in the classroom, looking at perhaps how it was used to support pedagogy, or perhaps improving student voice or pupil voice, or perhaps supporting attainment, for example. So thinking about real examples and how they helped you, how technology was used to help that situation. Okay, well, thanks so much for joining us today. It doesn't look like there's any more questions, so I shall let you get on with the rest of your evening, and hope to see you at the next writing retreat. So well done on all your work this evening on working towards your application. Really good to see progress being made, and thanks to those of you who've joined again since the first writing retreat, and hopefully see you on the next one. Thanks very much.